The boarding call for Flight 873 to New York crackled through the airport loudspeakers, barely cutting through the fog of exhaustion that clouded Emily Carter's mind. She gripped the strap of her tattered diaper bag tighter as she balanced her sleeping daughter, Lily, on her hip. At just 3 years old, Lily had mastered the art of sleeping through chaos. Emily envied her. Everything she owned was stuffed into 2 carry-ons and a backpack. She didn't have the luxury of checked luggage. Every dollar counted now. After losing her job at the diner, getting evicted from their small apartment in Phoenix, and burning through the last of her savings trying to make ends meet, this flight was a leap of faith. Her sister had promised a place to stay in New York and maybe a lead on a job. It was a lifeline, a new start. As Emily reached her seat at the back of the plane, she sighed with relief. She slid Lily into the window seat and sat down next to her, aware of the man already occupying the aisle seat. He looked up from his phone and offered her a gentle smile. "Need help with that?" he asked, gesturing to the bag she was awkwardly trying to wedge under the seat. Emily hesitated. She was used to doing everything herself, but her arms ached. She nodded. "Thank you." He tucked the bag away effortlessly and settled back in. There was a quiet kindness in his eyes. He was strikingly handsome, dark hair, stubble that looked too deliberate to be accidental, a strong jawline. He had the polished, put-together look of someone who belonged in business class, not back here among crying babies and tightly packed seats. The plane taxied and took off. Lily stayed asleep, her head resting against the window. Emily leaned back, fatigue washing over her. She hadn't slept in nearly 2 days. Between packing, managing Lily, and worrying about their future, rest had been elusive. Her eyes began to close, the rhythmic hum of the engine lulling her. She tried to stay upright, not wanting to invade her seatmate's space, but the exhaustion was too much. Her head slowly dipped and came to rest on his shoulder. He glanced at her, surprised. But instead of pulling away or shifting uncomfortably, he stilled. Then, slowly, he adjusted so she could rest more comfortably. He even pulled a blanket from the overhead and draped it over her and Lily. Emily didn't wake until the plane began to descend. Her eyes blinked open, heart racing as she realized where she was and who she was leaning on. She bolted upright. "Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I must have." He raised a hand to stop her. "It's okay. You were tired." Emily flushed with embarrassment, brushing her disheveled hair out of her face. "Still, I shouldn't have. Don't worry about it. Really." He smiled again, the same soft smile. "I'm David, by the way. Emily. And this is Lily." Lily stirred and blinked up at David with sleepy curiosity. He waved at her, and she gave a shy smile. When the plane landed, Emily figured that would be the end of it. She'd thank him and disappear into the chaos of baggage claim, just another tired mom with nowhere to go. But as they stood up and gathered their things, David surprised her. "You have someone picking you up?" "My sister. I think. She's working, but she said she'd try to get off." David nodded thoughtfully. "If you need a ride, I have a car waiting. I could drop you off." Emily hesitated. "That's kind, but you've done enough. We'll be fine." He didn't push, just nodded again. But as they exited the plane, he stayed close, helping her with her bags. When her sister texted that she was stuck at work and wouldn't be able to come for a few hours, Emily found herself sitting on a cold bench outside baggage claim, trying to keep Lily warm. David appeared a few minutes later, carrying 2 cups of coffee and a small bag. "You look like you could use this," he said, handing her a cup. The bag contained a muffin and a banana for Lily. Emily blinked back tears. "Thank you." They sat for a while, sipping coffee and talking. David didn't ask too many questions, but he listened when she spoke. She found herself telling him about her job loss, the eviction, the desperation that led her to this flight. "You're strong," he said simply. She laughed bitterly. "No choice." He glanced down at Lily, now munching the banana happily. "She's lucky to have you." Emily didn't know what to say. No one had said that to her in a long time. Eventually, David stood. "Listen, I know this is sudden, but I run a nonprofit. We work with single parents, help them get back on their feet. There's a job opening at our office, nothing fancy, but it's steady work, decent pay, and benefits. If you're interested." Her heart stopped. "Are you serious?" He nodded. "I can't promise everything, but I can promise you'll be treated with dignity." She wanted to cry. Instead, she stood and shook his hand. "Yes, I'm interested." Thank you. David gave her his card and walked her to a cab, insisting on covering the fare. Just pay it forward, he said. Emily did get that job, and within a year, she had her own apartment. Lily was in preschool, and for the first time in a long time, she felt safe. She often thought of that flight, of the shoulder she'd unknowingly leaned on, of the kindness she'd been shown. Sometimes, humanity surprised her. Sometimes, people were good. A year later, on a cold January morning, she walked into the office to find David waiting with coffee. Morning, he said. Busy day today. You ready? She smiled. Always. He smiled back, but this time it lingered. There was something else in his eyes. Emily tilted her head. What? David shrugged. Just thinking how glad I am that you fell asleep on my shoulder. Her heart stuttered. She smiled. Me too. Because sometimes, the flight you think is just a way to survive becomes the beginning of everything you never dared to dream.